Welcome back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. On this week's episode, Aubrey and I are going to take a look back at 2025 and what we got from Shatterpoint, question mark, inquisitive look at Aubrey as I say that. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Aubrey, how we doing?
What? I'm just excited to be on the cast. I'm not allowed to dance a little while I'm waiting for you to do the intro? Come on.
Fair enough.
It's for the YouTubers.
For the YouTubers to watch Aubrey dance in his seat. Okay, fair enough. How you doing today, Aubrey?
It's on brand for
know
me. Come on.
It is on brand for you. I know you went out and had a late night celebrating multiple birthday parties and maybe having a beverage or two. So it's interesting to see you back up and moving around again.
Oh, yes. There is a lot of coffee and ibuprofen and multivitamins and juice keeping my body upright right now. It might be a few things. I actually went out with our friend from Magic, Johnny, and his wife and a couple of their friends, and because everybody had December birthdays. I mean it. The December birthdays won't stop coming. This is the holiday season for me. I did not get any Shatterpoint stuff done this week other than I am still working on terrain. That's kind of more passive, and I'm really just spray painting stuff and making it look good quick. So I am happy. The research colony set is finally done, and we have 2 tables worth of that, and I kind of like how the paint scheme came out. I still have to do scatter, but I couldn't decide what contrasting color I wanted to use for the scatter yet, or if I wanted to just paint it white, because it's like a reddish white table, and I don't know. I was thinking blue, but then I'm like, that's a little on point, Mr. American. So I don't know.
The whole red, white, and blue. I am American.
Yeah, so then I paused and I haven't figured it out yet. So the table's technically done because I have the scatter. I just gotta decide what it's going to be.
Fair enough. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's getting into finals time for my daughter, and she does dance every year at school. Her school has a dance, and their final is a dance. A dance recital, so they have Friday and Saturday nights, and of course,
oh, wow.
And I talked about this with a lot of parents, a lot of us parents that have boomers for parents that when we grow up, we had parents that just didn't show up to our sporting events / activities. So now as parents, we're overcompensating for that and going to everything that our kids have. So that's one of those things. I've had this conversation with 4 different parents. So I think it's one of those where it's I just go to everything, and because even if it's the smallest of things or biggest of things, because it was so. Yeah, so that's where I was last night, which. Interesting side note, after the show was over, a guy came up to me and saw my my Star Wars tattoo that I have with the rebel symbol with the Jedi Order symbol inside of it, and he's like, "Cool tattoo." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." And it was got talking, and his name's Josh. He ended up telling me he collects the original Star Wars figures, and he has a bunch of them that are still in the original wrapping.
You mean
and he has actually got
ones?
Yes, and it actually has them graded and serialized type of a thing. So it's gone and got this. So he's got he's that serious about it. I'm like nerds have to have their things, and he's like, yeah, it's not good. So I found that hilarious that he just had this whole.
Did you tell him about our little plastic army toys?
I did, right? and he knows about Gamers Guild, and he actually is very interested in it. So he might end up showing up because he's a huge Star Wars fan. So he might end up showing up Gamers Guild, maybe go and learn to play. He actually after we introduced each other, I was walking out to take my daughter to the car. He comes back up and taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, what's your podcast?" And I type it in, and he actually hit follow on it and followed the podcast right then and there, which was pretty funny, I thought. But it was okay, cool.
Hey, shout out.
Yeah. But I thought that was neat. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I've been. I did get a game in Thursday night, Friday night, Friday night. I got a game in Friday night.
At some point.
Yeah, I played. I played Ryan, and we played. I ended up. I've been on a really big Mom Mando kick lately, so I've been playing a lot of Mom and Mando again. So like my list has been where I'm at right now is Mom, Django, and the Night Sister Acolytes with Mando, Bosk, and Han and Chewie. And it's a pretty fun list. So I'm playing. It's kind of like a little bit of a spin on what Scott was doing with his Dooku list that he ran at Adepticon, where it was like you had Dooku and the Magna Guards kind of doing their own thing. So like it's Mom and the Night Sisters doing their own thing, and then the rest of the bounty hunter scoundrels doing the rest of the missions, running around and stuff like that. Because like you have so much, like especially with the bounty hunters, you have so much dice list displacement between Django and the Mandalorian. I mean, and then you got so much movement with Han and Chewie, where they can, you can watch out he's loose. Plus, you can also reposition after an attack with one of them. So it's like you can just put them just about anywhere on the board you want to. And I think that's really good. So like first struggle, we were playing on shifting priorities, and I was playing against, he played CT with third sister, fifth brother, and then on the other side was Grand Inquisitor with, I want to say it was DTE and Dark Troopers, but I could be wrong on the secondary.
Okay.
I'm almost positive I'm wrong on the secondary, but I can't remember who that is off the top of my head right now. But basically, we played on shifting because we both brought shifting, and it was a really back and forth. Like he scores 3, I score 3, he scores 3. He was first player, so he ended up basically, it kind of just worked out to where we kept on getting momentum, and he kind of just like at one point I'm like, you know what, I just gotta like leave this alone and go to struggle 2. And ended up going to struggle 2, and of course like struggle 2 is usually pretty fast at that point in time, so it was a pretty quick I score 3 and go from there. So and then going into our struggle 2, I should say, and then going into struggle 3, it was a pretty fun struggle 3. Really some back and forth, but he had just like early game positioning kind of like came back to hurt him. Because he just like, and where the flop was, because it was either the 3 across the middle or 3 down the middle, and the 3 across the middle just were not good for him because I was going to have 2 of the 3 points, so he went the up and down like one, and it just ended up where I was able to. I think I got like Mando onto the center point and was able to push a character off. Then I was able to activate Han and Chewie, and with all of their movement, they were like on the like back right side, like middle, like between they were kind of like in the back quarter, like back right quadrant, and I was able to get both of them all the way up. Granted, they were already wounded, so I used 4 force, but I got them all the way up to the top point. So they were both bodies on the point and shoving whoever that secondary was off. And then like his last activation was he had gotten what's his name, Grand Inquisitor, and he brought Grand Inquisitor from like the center right point all the way down to the back point. But the problem was, in order to take that point, basically he wounded the character that I had on, which I think was Django. Well, that triggered 2 different both of my whatchamacallits, the revenge triggers. Yeah. So basically Mom was able to move and get just enough in range to do her 5 dice attack, and he had like 5 health left. So I was able, and I didn't kill him, but I was able to do 4 points of damage. And I moved Mando to where Mando had line of sight, but still was able to be in contesting the center point. And I had Mando in reserve, so all I had to do was activate Mando, and basically I think I left him on like 1 or 2 damage on. So basically, it was like Mando just needed to do an attack, get 1, and one down the tree. Success. Yeah, and to be fair, I focused, attacked, and only had 1 success.
Whoa! Okay, dice.
It was a mix between average dice and his dice were pretty. Right, yeah, and that was basically for the win because I needed to score all 4 points and get a wound in order to win the struggle. Ended up doing that, which was pretty. It was a pretty like it
Wow.
was a good game. Like there was a lot of good decision points throughout the game, but it was like yeah, I mean using 4 force on a wounded Han and Chewie to sit there and move all the way up the board to sit there and basically take the top like hit the opposite side center point was pretty a pretty interesting play. I'm like, well, this might bite me, but let's see what happens. So it
Oh,
was a pretty good
oh,
game.
Todd, I did play a Star Wars game this week. I played Star Wars pinball at the pinball bar. Thanks, Johnny.
I guess that kind of counts, sort of maybe. But yeah, and oh, and you know what? One of the other things I did, I ended up downloading Rebel Commandos, the
Oh, you
old
did?
Star Wars, the old 2005 video game. Yeah, because it was on Steam for like $10, and I'm like, you know what? I don't recall playing this. Everyone loves it because of Boss, so you know what? I'm gonna download and play it, and that kind of goes into like something like with what I wanted to do for our bonus episode because I want to try and start getting back to doing more consistent bonus episodes. So you don't even know what I'm planning on doing, but it has something to do with that. Like, so I'm gonna completely surprise you actually with what my plan is on this. So because I haven't told you
Okay,
what I've learned.
well,
I put some work into this bonus episode, but you'll be I think you'll be slightly impressed, Aubrey, about what I'm doing here.
okay. All right. Now I'm excited. Everybody's gonna have to go check out the Patreon if they want to know what Todd's talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has something to do with Delta Force, obviously, because of the game and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I've been is like playing around with the bonus, like what I want to do with bonus episode, and then playing the game and everything along those lines, and of course getting ready for like Scorched Earth and everything like that, doing some stuff like that. But any other things like exciting going on in your life that you wanted to share with all of the listeners as you work on terrain?
I mean, I will say, I did finally, Todd. I have assembled all of the Shatterpoint boxes that I own. They are at least all assembled. Don't ask me about the terrain boxes, but all of my minis are off of their sprues and in the wild. So I am a little happy. I'm a little happy at that accomplishment because, like, you get extra boxes sometimes from events and stuff, like things you weren't expecting, or you use a unit out of a box, and then like the rest of it's still sitting on its sprues. And I'm like, I want
Yep.
every model that I have to at least be out and like at least get some primer on them, hopefully, and prep for future painting. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. I have multiple boxes like that, like when it comes, especially like in MCP, where it's like I just want to sit there and play. Like I bought the Ant-Man and Wasp box, and I'm like, because I want to play Wasp and like A-Force, but it's like, so I built that, painted it, and Ant-Man's still on the sprue. I'm like, I'm like, maybe when I get to Avengers, I'll play him. But it's like it's just one of those things where yeah, sometimes you just don't play stuff, and you just kind of sits there. So I get that. I get that. I've done that multiple times as well. I try to like build and paint one box at a time when it comes to Shatterpoint though. I don't want to just sit there and not let and like kind of just let a box sit empty or like halfway built. So I try to do it a box at a time, but I get sometimes that doesn't work out.
Oh, and sidebar, I don't know it's AMG's other game, but I did get like about half of my Legion stuff assembled, but I assembled my first vehicle, like a miniature vehicle. That was nerve-wracking. There were way more pieces to put together on the little like what are they 35 millimeter, 32 millimeter? I don't know. I don't remember what Legion is, but whatever that scale was, the little bike
I think it's
had
28.
so.
Yeah.
No, that's D&D. No, that's
Is it?
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it must be 32 then.
In any event, whatever their size is, first time putting together a vehicle, That I did not like that. There was so like you had to put pieces inside of pieces and then glue that together, and you had to make sure that like the pieces were all lining up, and I know everybody else who's been doing this for a long time is laughing at me like with all the Warhammer like giant mechas and everything that you've all had to put together. And this thing was like probably 13 steps, but like I'm used to putting together minis. It's like two arms, two legs, a head, a weapon, done. This thing was way more involved than that.
Yes, yes. When it comes to vehicles and like larger pieces, like especially like in 40K, there's definitely some like larger pieces that like that just assembly alone can take like a couple hours. So I'm proud of you, Aubrey, that you've gone out of your comfort zone there and played and built something different.
Hey,
That's
I was
funny.
amused by myself, so I figured all of you could be amused as well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What vehicle did you build? Because I know you're like building like a Republic list. So what is it that you're
Oh,
building?
it's from the original core because I had the core set, the
Mhm.
Grievous versus Obi-Wan one originally. So it's just a bark speeder. It's nothing fancy. It's just, but it has like a little sidecar. So you have to like you build the
Uh,
main car or main bike, and then you build the sidecar. Then you have to flip it all upside down, and then like properly insert the sidecar into like the bottom of the bike, and then of course I mean glue it all together like it's supposed to be glued together because it's not like snapped together. Like
mhm.
if it was snapped together like Legos, I'd be fine. This was like not only do I have to get the alignment perfect, then I have to like I'm dry fitting it, then taking it apart, then putting the glue, and then managing to put it back together again. I mess that up sometimes on their arms, Todd. I'm doing this with a bike.
Sounds like you had some fun. Sounds like it was a little bit of a challenge for you, but it sounds like you got there though. That's the important part.
Yes,
That is the
it is
important part.
assembled.
Yep. So yeah, so I guess I mean that's I mean like I said, it doesn't sound like we've had either one of us had like a whole lot going on. I mean, it is the holiday season and it's usually kind of a lull, even in tournament wise. I mean, we don't really have like a lot of big tournament stuff that usually happens during the holidays because most people are too busy doing family stuff. So we figured we'd
Except
take a look back at 2025. Oh, good.
except for MCP, Todd. Don't you have a team event that's like full?
That's not until January. But it filled up already, which is weird. So like, but yeah, it's not until the end of January. But yeah,
Oh,
our
okay.
a full team event for us is like 6 teams. Which granted, that's 18 players, because it's three person team. So no, I mean that's fantastic that it's like doing so well. And then yeah, we did have that like 27 player event. So like MCP has been popping off here in Arizona like lately, which is kind of wild that like 15 to 20 player events, 15 to 30 player events has been happening pretty consistently lately. So hey, more power to them. I think like the hype from Strav is kind of carrying over with all of the changes, and people are like kind of coming back to the game, which is good. I mean, I'm happy that AMG like kind of has had a little bit of revitalization in MCP because it's been that was their flagship game. That was what 7 years ago almost now that they've started that. So it's pretty awesome that it's there's still a lot of love and interest going on in the game. But yeah, so we wanted to kind of take a look back at 2025 and everything that it was, and I kind of like started off by like looking at like basing kind of all of this off of what we saw in transmissions and stuff like that, because I think that's kind of overall where the game was, and like so the transmission that I first saw was for the Wisdom of the Council one, and that was the Kiadi Mundi box with Kiadi, Shakti, and the Padawans, the younglings that Anakin likes to go and destroy when he becomes Darth Vader. And that was actually the transmission came out in December, but I don't think people like you and I even like. I remember when we first saw it, we were like, I was not sold on Kiadi, and then I actually got played against him, and I like saw him on the table, and I'm like, okay, I was wrong. Like Kiadi's super good, and I think he kind of like really once people like figured out how good he was, especially pairing him with Vader one, like really kind of came around to like him, and that kind of like that along with where the meta was with, oh god, what was it? Why am I forgetting her name? Iden. Like those were like the defining parts of the meta at the time when we're looked at early 2025. I don't know. What do you think, Aubrey?
Oh yeah, I yes. Remember, famously, we were very down on the box. Although I do think a lot of that did have to do with the Padawan learners, and I'm sorry they haven't really stayed. Like they have a couple of like niche places where they'll find themselves in lists occasionally, but I think that has more to do with just you wanting like one more force user for a particular list. Anyway, yeah, Chiari Mundi definitely kicked things off because then everybody was a little bit like, whoa, this feels a little overtuned. But really, it's the effect of cost reduction. You and I should have known better, Todd. What happens any time Wizards of the Coast releases a cost reduction effect into Magic? Every single time.
Yeah,
What if it's good enough? What
it breaks the
happens?
game. It
It
breaks the
breaks
game.
the
Yeah.
game. And this is effectively a cost reduction on an also good model. Like look at the combat tree, look at the abilities, like yeah, yeah, we and then of course Shakti is cool. Like I really like that particular unit. Like you get the extra force because she's a Jedi Master. She has the Force Repulse. She's got the immunities. Like, no, that one was that one. I think it may have just been like, woe is me, and we're like, well, these can't dethrone Iden. Nothing can dethrone Iden. Not realizing that maybe we were about to get more of a rock paper scissors kind of situation than not.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, I mean Iden still was kind of like the thing that everything was like that was everyone was playing and everything along those lines. So it it wasn't wrong that like that people were thinking that in any way. It totally was like one of those where it she was still good. I mean, and everything like that, but she still won. I mean, she won Adepticon. I mean, you and I were both there and watched it, so it watched it all happen. So yeah, it was definitely
Fine,
she's definitely still
Todd.
good.
I was trying to be positive, but you're right. It was still Iden's winter.
It was. I mean, she was totally there. But I mean, so that was kind of like where we started the year. We other than that, like going into Adepticon, there was really no other events that actually took place, or not events, but any other releases that took place. I mean, in Adepticon, like it was kind of a lull leading up to Adepticon, and going from there. I mean, so there was, but like I said, Adepticon, like especially looking at the finals, that was like that was Scott. That was and him playing the Iden Vader, and then of course he had his Dooku and armor list, but it was really just him playing the Vader Iden list because that was at that point in time probably just the best thing that you could be doing because Iden was just so good.
Yeah, yeah. And don't forget though, that is the weekend that we got our next box that we got our Fisher friends, not food box.
Yes, that is the weekend. So we did get like earlier in I think in December or February, they previewed the Kiadi or Kit Fisto box with Nadar and the what was the units that came with it? I can't remember the name of the
Phil
secondary, the other secondary
Phil's
outside of Navarre. The Phil and Phil's clones.
yeah, Phil and Phil's clones.
Yeah, Phil and Phil's clones. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool because Phil was a 3, so we got another 3 there, and his clones were 3s also. So it gave more 3s for Republic, which I think was kind of a nice thing there. But yeah, so that released the weekend of Adepticon along with the new mission as well. So that was when we had the first contact, which hasn't really seen a lot of play. out in like the competitive side, but I really enjoyed playing that mission. But I should go back. I mean, what did you think about the Kiadi box? I mean, he's have you had a chance to play with or against him quite a bit?
I've, I mean, I've played against him plenty of times. I believe I've only had maybe one event where I think I brought Kiati because it was back, jumping ahead when the errata happened. I did jump it back into Republic a little bit, and so I'm pretty sure I ran him at one event. So I must have played him in at least a couple of games. Um, he's good. I think it was a Kiati Anakin list that I was playing, and so like I kind of
Kiadi or
ran
Kit?
in. Wait, did you say Kit or you said Kiati? What do you think of
Yeah, I
Kiati?
was talking about Kit. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Kit Fisto. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Have you had
oh,
a chance to play
oh,
Kit Fisto?
oh. So ironically, I have played with everything in his box except for him. I've played. I've played. That's weird admission to think about, huh? Yeah, I've played with Nadar. I've played with Phil and Phil's clones for various point value things. I've never played with Kit Fisto. I mean, Liam's here. I've played against him enough times. That little fishy guy gets in your
Right.
back line real quick. I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I
What
mean,
about
that was the
you?
funny thing at Adepticon. No, I've only played against him because, of course, Liam. Because like famously, Liam like built, built, and painted Kit Fisto and played him in like a side event at Adepticon and ended up winning the side event with Kit Fisto.
Right.
But like that's like one of his favorite characters.
Yeah, Monster probably
So,
didn't even
but yeah,
sleep that night. He's just like, I'm gonna bust this out, and then I'm gonna win with
yeah.
caffeine and fishy finesse.
Right, right. I mean, he is an interesting character just to like how much movement he has because before you know it, he goes from like one corner of the board to the other, and he's sitting on your point saying it's with that smile on his face, like saying, "What are you going to do?" type of a thing. So he is an interesting character, but I think that just with the amount of primaries there are in Republic, even like as we get closer to the end of the year, and it's like what we've seen like release on the second half of the year for Republic, I think he kind of gets lost in the sea of all of the good primaries that there are.
Yeah, the problem
So,
is that I feel like he would be like your fifth pick or maybe your sixth pick. Like
mm,
it's not that he's bad. It's just you're like I'm going to take Boss and Hunter and Obi-Wan and uh you know Mace or Anakin or in this, like I could keep going, and then you're like, oh wait, what about Kit? And you're like, I don't have room for Kit.
yeah, or Kiadi because Kiadi's still good too. So and the force
Yeah,
reduction that he has, like we were just talking about. So it's like, yeah, there's just he kind of gets lost in just the sea of all of those. I mean, but like I said, he is a favorite of some people, so I think he's still going to see play, and he's still a very good character. He just he gets lost. And then, like I said, there was the mission like that. They also did a pre-release event at Adepticon for the first contact mission. Do you play that at all? Have you had a chance to play that much? I know like most of us usually like kind of stick with shifting and and everything else, but
I have only ever had one game on First Contact, and if it starts showing up at events more regularly, I will work to get more practice on it. But it was it just the game took so long, and I get with more practice you can get it done in 2 hours, and like a competitive player can get through it, but it was such a slog the first time we tried it. And then because we have so many players here who are so focused on they want to practice for the next GT, they want to practice for the next big event, etc., etc. Well, then you end up I'm either in events where not a lot of people want to take first contact because of the time constraint, and then I'm playing in a league or something where people are using it to practice for events. So I have not had a lot of experience with it. I have it, and I should probably play on it more just to get a feel for it. But limited time, Todd. Limited time.
yes, yeah. No, I've played a few on it. I mean, I like the idea of switching things switching the maps like kind of in the middle of your second and third struggle. It's kind of an interesting play style. I know I can see why it's not for the competitive players because it's just another level of variance that, and when you're playing competitively, you want to eliminate variance. But as far as like the fun aspect of it and like a more casual event, because I played it in the May the 4th event that they had over at Primetime Games on the west side of the valley, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I mean, I played against Nick Rader on that because he brought that as a mission. I'm like, you know what, let's give it a shot, type of a thing. And I think that was the first time I played it, and it's I think it was fun. I mean, granted, it was a 2-0 game. I remember, so we didn't worry about time too much. But I can see how it can, if you have those players that go kind of deep into the tank, thinking about what the flip of the next, where everything's moving to, having to make that decision multiple times, like for the players that maybe take a little bit more time going in the tank, I think that can be a problem in a competitive sense. Where if I mean, I can just think of like some of the players who are historically a little bit more thoughtful about their lines of play. I think I can see that like adding more time to the game that you wouldn't want to add to.
Todd, you can say my name. It's okay. I know I go into the tank sometimes.
But yeah, I mean there is that. So it's um, let's see, and then so after Adepticon, of course, they did announce it before Adepticon, but it was like really after Adepticon was when we started getting all of the Andor Rogue One boxes that started coming out. There was the Krennic box with the Death Trooper Specialist and Death Troopers and Shore Troopers. You had Cassian with K2SO and Pathfinders, and then those came out pretty early in the year, and then but the Jin box was also teased, but we didn't see her till much later in the year, and that was Jin with Bodhi and Baze and Chirrut. So I mean, like, and I think that was like the big hype for everyone was like those three boxes because Rogue One is such a popular movie, and Andor has just became such a really good show. And bringing like all of those characters to the table was pretty cool. I mean, what did you think about all of those different models coming out?
Oh, I was so hyped, and not just because they weren't named Luke, Han, Chewie, Leia, R2D2, Chewie, like not just for those reasons, but no, it's a great story. And Andor is a knockout of the park, and I wanted to put those models on the table as soon as possible. Uh, didn't know how often we would be putting those models on the table, but here we are.
Yeah, the Cassian box kind of like slowly changed the meta. He didn't make as big of a splash at the beginning of the year as the beginning of his release as he did until a certain other box got released.
Hmm.
And I don't think we really. I think it's like that's when we realized the impact of supports. But I mean, Cassian's his identity really does kind of define the current meta and what he can do with just like doing all of this extra plink damage and punishing you for actually having points, whether you win this win the struggle or not. He's going to punish you, and that I find interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some overtunedness there because, like when you're behind it in a game and that goes off and you manage to wound something and everything, you're like, oh, good, I'm catching up. I got this. And then when you're winning and it goes off and you do like 3 damage to like 4 models because they were trying to get on objectives to stop you and then it didn't work, and you're like, are we the baddies? Are we the bad
Yeah,
guys? We're the terrorists blowing up the city. These
yeah.
poor Imperial
That is
citizens
a
are
rough
just trying to
one. I
get to
mean, it's
work.
right, right. It is pretty rough. It is pretty rough. I mean, because it's like it doesn't matter who wins the struggle, one way or the other. It's just a struggle happens, whether what either player claims one, and it only hits enemy characters. So it's like they don't. So it's like you don't even get punished as the player like in any way for it. It's like, oh, I do it every time, and oh, by the way, I'm only hitting your people, even though I might have 10 people on the point.
That That would be wild if they made it so that it hit everyone. Ooh, ooh, that
I mean, it's an
changes that
explosion,
ability.
right?
Right? No, no, no. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just like that. That would change the ability a lot. Ooh.
Yeah. I think one of those two things would be kind of a cool change. I just thinking about it, it's like why I mean if it's this town's ready to blow and you're making an explosion happen, why doesn't it just hit everybody? I mean, but that's just, my mind. I'm
Well,
not a game designer.
but
I don't know if they probably did test it that way in something.
but that's interesting because then it really would be a catch-up mechanic because you wouldn't use it if you had just won the struggle, or maybe I mean you might, but it's a risk reward at that point because if you just won the struggle, you probably are like, nope, I'm not going to blow up the town because more of my guys are on the points than your guys are because that's probably how you won the struggle. But then if you're behind and you just lost the struggle, then you're like, yeah, yeah, you got all the points, cool, I'm blowing them up, and
Yeah.
okay, okay, but we're getting off track. We're getting off track now. I'm going into game design, of which I have zero experience.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just one of those things where, like, I think I've had this conversation before, where like different ways that you could change it, like during a game I was playing or something along those lines. And there. I think there's some interesting changes that you could make to him that wouldn't necessarily be bad, but it would be interesting. So, but yeah, so and then K2 has a really, he came out with his lockdown ability, which was really kind of cool, and everything along those lines. But like I said, Cassian really wasn't. There wasn't a lot going on with him at the time, so it was more along the lines of once the Gin box came out. But in this time frame, like right about then is like when we had the big announcement from AMG where they did the update to a lot of cards. They updated, God, I think it was like
Yeah,
30 something cards or something like that. It was
I think it
a
was
huge
more,
update.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
I don't
lot. It
know.
was
It
like
was
30 to
something
40
like that.
easily. But it was a lot. They did a huge update, kind of rebalance, not rebalance, but like really revitalized a lot of the characters, especially in like the Republic. We saw a couple of nerfs on Separatists, but and then there was a lot of like a lot of changes, which overall I think was good for the game. I mean, unless you're a Separatist fan, then you probably didn't think it was good for the game.
Unless you're Chris.
Yes. Tear for Chris. I'll pour one out for my homie. But yes, there was definitely some big changes. I mean, I mean, overall, like I said, I liked them. I think that the change that they made to, like I said, the most controversial one was probably the change that they made to the Magna Guards because, yes, the Magna Guards probably at the beginning of the game, when during launch and the first year of the game, probably needed that change. I think they kind of fell to a little bit of obscurity at that point in time and really didn't need the change. But decisions were made, and that's that type of a thing. But I mean, overall, what were your thoughts of the update? What was there anything that
Oh,
stood out to you on that one?
oh, the updates were great. I will say on the Magna Guard question, this is what I stand by. Wild speculation on my part is they tried they tried changing like they I think they tuned down the Magna Guards first, and then when that wasn't enough, then they changed Vader's identity. But I don't think they realized that after changing Vader's identity, that Vader's identity was what was really the problem. And as soon as you make it so he can't use it on the Magna Guards are actually fine the way they are. But that's just I don't know that I have no insight into this. I'm just making it up. But that just seems logical to me that like the first thing they did is bad Magna Guard, bad, and then when that wasn't enough, they tweaked Vader's identity, and then never went back to the Magna Guards and went, you may have your expertise back.
Right. Yeah,
But
I
who
think I
knows?
think
Who
they.
knows?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they were that bad. I mean, like, so I mean, what like change wise when you look at that, because there was, like I said, a lot of changes that happened. What was there something that kind of like stuck out to you that was like the most exciting of those changes?
Oh, can I talk about an entirely boring one? I mean, it was really
Sure.
important, but it's super boring. Giving all of the clones one more health point. because as somebody who tried to make Republic work, and mind you, some of this is I just don't jive with the coordinated fire playstyle life. Like I just never could get it in my head. And Obi's hunker mechanic makes me think way too much, and I can't think more in this game than I already do, Todd. Um, but but because I played Republic so much in the beginning, because Republic fanboy, I wanted to play with Annie Obi all the way down. Like I was ready. Every single time I tried to make lists work, I would say out loud to my opponent, to me, to the universe, if they just had one more point of health, this wouldn't be happening to me. and and AMG, thank you. You gave them all one more hit point. That is like it's such a tiny change, but it makes such a difference in being able to
Yep.
play with them.
Yeah, that was a big change, and I think that like really kind of put Republic where they are now for sure. Even
What about you?
like I said, I mean, like looking back, and I kind of pulled up the list to kind of cycle through everything. The changes they made to Ewoks, especially like the R2 and C3PO,
Oh, that's a good
really
one.
was that was really interesting. I mean, and it really went from them being a very malign secondary unit to really being a linchpin to a very specific list, but making that list even better with the Ewok list. And I've played against them a few times now. The Ewoks list. I got a chance to play against Cody Hawkins, and of course he's like probably the person who's been playing Ewoks forever.
Right.
I mean, it was just like watching him pilot that, especially at post changes to this list, was just kind of amazing, and like all of the different things that they can do. So I really do that one is probably like a big one up there, along with the changes that were made to all the Inquisitors. Like I really like what they did, especially with
Ooh,
Fourth
yeah.
Sister. So those are my
I
two big ones. Like I was going back and forth. Like I think there's kind of a tie for like those are the coolest ones.
Yeah, I have to say I haven't gotten Inquisitors on the table enough. And I know like Rebel fanboy and I'm trying what I'm really trying to do is follow the advice of many a good player that's like don't move off of a list to get extra reps in it, get comfortable with it. So I am trying to stay with just my Rebel Premier list that I'm working on. And yes, I keep mix and matching maybe one unit in that list, but the overall list is staying the same. But I do have a plan to put the Inquisitors on the table in the coming year because I find they're the bad guys, but the playstyle of that group just is so
Mm,
much fun. Like the very first time I put them on the table, I was like, this feels good now. Like this
yeah.
is interesting. Like I want to get some more of that, especially with oh I keep trying to jump ahead, Todd, with our newest Vader edition.
Right. Well, I guess I should like kind of. I think I jumped ahead of that, but yeah. But it's so like yeah. But it like just to kind of close out on the Inquisitor piece of it is like you put in like the call to the hunt with Third Sister, moving Fourth Sister, dashing her up to make a 5 dice ranged attack, like on the midline, like on like one of the early turns in the game, just feels amazing. And it's like just you didn't have that before in Inquisitors, and now you have this where you can just challenge an out of activation challenging attack onto the midline. Is really cool, and I really like that they did that. But yeah, I mean we can definitely go back to that wonderful box that the I Am No Jedi dual pack that was released that was the con exclusive that was announced and then like originally released at Adepticon. Vader is a secondary in that one, so that's the third Vader that we ended up getting so far, and a third Ahsoka that we've gotten. So this is another primary Ahsoka. This is like Ahsoka Fulcrum, and then the secondary Vader, which is pretty interesting. He's a 5 point cost, and I still think to this day these characters have not really been given a fair shake. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I that's my other goal outside of Inquisitors and wanting to play more with them. I'm currently working on messing around with various Ahsoka Fulcrum lists because one of my favorite characters Which shout out to the slow burn that was Ahsoka, because when Ahsoka's character got released, a lot of fans were upset, and and what's funny is even I was upset, but I was upset for an entirely dumb nerdy reason, because a lot of people are upset because she's a teenage girl and she's whiny and annoying, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, no. How is Anakin not a master in Revenge of the Sith if he had a Padawan during the Clone Wars, which of course they do eventually explain 7 years later? But that's what I was like. I was like, wait. How did Anakin not become a master if he has a Padawan that's conveniently off screen somewhere? Like, what's going on here? That's why I was annoyed.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I mean, and I get that. I get that. I mean, but yeah, no. So Ahsoka, like this one, Ahsoka Fulcrum is a very interesting character. I think a lot of people need to like she was played right out of like out the rip. But I think she just her play style, especially within Rebels list, was kind of not what people were wanting, especially because Rebels was so focused on like a revenge with Kanan and PLC. At the time, like Rebels is very different now, thanks to Cassian and Jin and the Jin boxes. And I don't know. I think maybe there is a place for her, but again, I think she's also one of those that falls victim to the Kit Fisto problem, where it's like you have PLC, you have Kanan, you have Cassian, you have a lot of Rebel primaries, and that's where does she fit in? Is she kind of, I think, feels sometimes like that number 5, number 6 on the list of like where you want to go if you're going to play Rebels, and like not everybody plays like an all Rebels premier list, so if she's not going to be your top 4, you're probably not going to see the table much on the sweaty competitive events and stuff like that.
Well, and even the list that I'm kind of theory crafting right now, which is more focused on Ahsoka, even I still feel like it's missing something, because I'm trying to play around with what supports are in it, and I'm actually considering an early suggestion that Omnis made for a completely different list for my Mando, when Mando was part of my Rebel Premier list. But I'm thinking of actually pairing her with Fifth Brother to give her some diceless displacement, because the biggest issue is like, and I hate to complain because she's not a bad unit, but it does feel like there's a little bit of mismatch between her identity, her abilities, and what's actually on her combat tree. Because what you're most likely to do with her is to stay on her Shien reverse grip side, get 3 successes down her tree, do 4 damage, 2 shoves, and a pin. Like that is mostly what you do with her, unless you've already softened up a unit and she's coming in for the kill and you're actually going to use her double attack ability. And then you flip to the other side and you try to do 6 damage, take down the model. But the problem is that she wants to hunt wounds, but she's also super mobile. So but to get her into range to do the wounds, you're gonna spend a bunch of force, and then if dice, she has kind of the Anakin problem of, if you don't hit those 3 successes on both attacks, she wants to try and kill secondaries and primaries, and they're harder to kill. They have good expertise. They have ways of mitigating this, and I hate to say that she needs a tweak somewhere, but it feels like she has conflicting identities, because the best thing to do with her is to jump around the board and shove people off of points, not kill anyone. And then you're not using like half of her card.
Yeah, I like what you said there though. So like what you kind of like stumbled upon is that AMG was brilliant and said that the Padawan grew up to be just like the Master when he was Anakin. So I got it. I see what you did. Anakin, like AMG was on it. Like they thought they went deep on that one.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not sure that was that deep, Todd. I think that's like her one of her trees looks almost like Anakin's, just like 1 damage less, and like I think that was, they might have done that on purpose, Todd. That might. Anyway,
Who knows?
yeah.
They
So
might have.
I'm still working on this, and I'm gonna keep trying because again, I really like how the character plays. Like I mean, I enjoyed Anakin's playstyle too. It's just like I'm probably just chasing something for the sake of a cool model. And like, shout out to Justin again. He painted my Ahsoka and Vader 3, and they look phenomenal. And I really just want to put them on the table a whole bunch. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll report back as I keep tweaking this idea of mine. What I'm really turning into is like, instead of it being like an anchor on Ahsoka, because it's really just not quite right. It's like probably gonna play like more of a 2 and 2, even though it's Rebels, and it'll be like Ahsoka
Mhm.
Specters with Cassian PLC or Cassian Mando or whatever I'm thinking of. Like that's
Makes
probably
sense.
where I'm gonna end up, but I'm still
Mhm.
playing around with the Ahsoka. Plus we have a league starting, and I don't have to worry about a premiere list, so I could just bring Ahsoka in whatever I want, and you can't stop me.
Exactly. No, we can't. We can't do that. So I guess like we can look at towards the end of the year, like the last third of the year, we had like the last like three boxes that we talked about. Like it was funny, you and I were like looking at this. It's like there was one terrain box that came out this year, one mission, and just eight like boxes, like character boxes, model like unit boxes that came out. And we knew that was coming in. Like they were AMG was very open and forthright on that at Adepticon, saying that this is Legion's year. There are not going to be a lot of releases for they front loaded a lot of the releases for Shatterpoint at release, so this was going to be a light year for us. Looking to the future, it looks like this is going to be an MCP's year going into 2026. So it might be another light year. I mean, it might be another one of these years where all we get is eight releases, 8 to 10 releases like we did this year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We know that another mission's coming, but like to go back, there was three other boxes that came out this year, and these are really what like are defining the meta to a certain extent. At least two of the three are, and that's with the Rogue One box with Jyn Erso, Bodhi Rook, and more importantly, Bazin Chirrut, who is just like, if you're playing like anything in that era, you're playing Bazin Chirrut when it comes to like competitive play. It's they just once you get down, because there is a little bit of a nuance to playing them with flipping their stance cards and everything like that, and making sure you're taking care of that and you're managing that. But once you get the nuance of playing them down, they hit hard.
Ooh, yeah. Well, and especially paired with Cassian, because we kind of glossed over Cassian's box, and the elephant in the room was that Rebel Pathfinders were not Rebel Commandos. And while
Yeah.
they have found a good spot with Freedom Fighter Leia, with Ewok Leia, and I still stand by, if you change it, like if AMG just changed that weird like try and attack a primary with one character ability or whatever it is, that like that should have just been a way of giving them a focus. Like they just really just needed a way to like give themselves a focus, and then I think they would be like, you don't even really need to change anything else on their card. But then you got to replace the lukewarm Pathfinders with the blazingly hot Bazin Chirrut, and now everything's on fire.
Yes. Yes. They are. I mean, and like to be fair, I mean, when it comes to like Rogue One in the movie, they were pretty awesome. I mean, and like to have
Yeah.
them, if you were at Adepticon, the World Championship like promo that they gave away was a Bazin Chirrut card as well. So like it was, you had a feeling that they were going to be pretty exciting based off of the hype that was going into them and building around them. So yeah, no, they were really exciting. I mean, they're definitely. I mean, I don't think there's much more to say about that. That they're just fantastic, and they need to be nerfed. Is what it really comes down to.
I don't know. My thing is that I don't actually know what needs to be done to that. Like the only thing I could think of is like either tune down some dice or tune down the what do you call it, the focus ability, sharpshooter impact. I don't know.
Mm.
They are just good, and I feel like they're a 5 point. They should be good,
Yeah.
but they got to tune something down. But in any event, I'm just happy because these were a couple of my favorite characters because they bicker like an old married couple through the whole movie, and it's just great. You're
Yeah.
like, is there a vibe here? I feel like there's a vibe here, you two. What's going what's
Yeah,
going on,
yeah. No,
guys?
I love the two of them. The characters are fantastic in the movies and in uh, and in the game. So I mean, they have that. So the last two boxes, the other Rift Handsman box, and I think a lot of people he fell short from like the Separatist players, what the Separatist players wanted. I think the Separatist players really wanted a savior for Separatists, and I don't think one box was going to fix them. But this box altogether is very good. You know, like the synergies of Aqua Droids, of the aquatic tag. Rift Hamson is, you know, exactly how you would expect him to be, especially if you watched the Clone Wars cartoon, like where he's just able to sit there and swim around and just bite the crap out of people. I mean, it's a fantastic character, and the model that he is on the board, I think, is great. No Sarai, whatever it is. He he's an interesting character. I think like he's very annoying to play against, especially if you can get position him to where he just can't be attacked. Like so, like a lot of people have found frustration in that. And the Aqua droids, for what they are, for what they're worth, I mean, they're pretty decent droids too. So I think overall, though, it's a good box. I would like to see maybe one more box at some point in time come out for the Separatists that might help like bring them back to prominence a little bit. But I don't know. We'll see.
Droidicas, 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 Kavad. Or I'll take commando droids if they are if they are not if they're not going to let us have wheels because of ladders, which I don't care. You know what? AMG print us an elevator. It's in the core rule book. I need an elevator. You don't even need to give me a whole terrain set. Just give me some elevators that I can hook onto the edge of my building, and
I
then
mean,
we got
or
droid
crab
cuts
droids,
in business.
or crab
Yeah,
droids. I mean, you know, they have legs. They can climb, right?
or just make them crazy powerful at ranged, and they can't climb. Just leave them on the
Right.
ground. They can never climb up, but they can wreck you at range. I don't know. I'm not a game
Yeah.
designer.
Or
Stop
like,
listening to me.
or because they can't climb, they ignore cover or something like that.
Yeah,
You
or
know,
maybe
you
they
get the
can
hunker tokens.
contest.
But
They can contest further away or something, kind of like Vader. I mean,
yeah,
there could be
there's
there
ways
could
to
be
work
some stuff.
around it. I think it's a design space that probably has a lot of might just be more of a challenge, and that might be part of it. I don't know. We'll see. But of course, like then the last box that we're going to talk about is the one that like basically has kind of like redefined where our meta is right now. Outside of Cassian, it's the Delta Squad box with Boss, Boss, Fixer, and Seven Scorch. This box is just like when it comes to Republic, if you're wanting to play in an event and win an event, and you're not playing and you play Republic and you're not playing these guys, you're probably doing it wrong because they're just good. Like the Boss Open where he can just send everybody forward. Fixer being able to just add dice because why not? You know, and Boss just hits like a truck. And oh, by the way, he just heals the crap out of himself. So like he's completely like impossible to put down, or he can just heal people around him. You know, it's like there's healing, there's damage. This box is insane.
So I mean, here's what I will say, and I will admit, as much as I love this game, I haven't touched it since it first came out. So my recollection of what happened in that game is almost nil. But what I like about this box is that it feels almost like video like the exact video game mechanics. Like you can tell they put a lot of creativity into the synergies of this box because I will admit I don't own this box. I don't play Republic as much. I'm full in on Rebels with a little smattering of wanting to try out Inquisitors. So I'm not playing Republic these days, and I don't want to put reps into. I have seen Matt Booker and his angles and vectors as he puts the clones in perfect positions to get all of his extra dice, and I'm like, more power to you, buddy. I'm never doing this because I will mess it up, and I don't want to do like it is a beautiful thing to watch, but I do not want to
Yeah.
do it, and so. Like they did a great job of making this feel like you are sending in the A squad, like because these guys are
Mhm.
in the Republic Commando series. They're not the. There's a different squad that's like the main characters in
Omega
that,
Squad is the main one.
right?
Yeah.
But they are in this series, like they pop up here and there, and so it's really cool to see them on the table and more of their character, because I know they did make the jump into to canon, and I don't know if we're ever going into like there's a couple of gray areas that are like sort of canon, sort of not canon, like Darth Revan.
Mhm.
Most of his story is technically not canon, but he is a character who's canon. I'm not gonna figure that out
Yeah,
today. But
the Disney yeah. The Disney buyout what's legends, what's canon is really difficult. And I mean like I said,
yeah,
the bonus episode I want to go into him a little bit more and talk about him a little bit more. I think is really like because like I said I have thoughts that I want to share in that medium. So but yeah, no, definitely there's some cool stuff. I mean it's like, but I will say one of the things I've noticed like when I was kind of looking into Delta Squad, they only have one appearance in what is official canon, and that is when they when Savage Opress goes and like kills all those Jedi in season 3. They Delta Squad is the who goes out and recovers the body of the dead Jedi in Padawan from that attack before everybody knew who Savage was, and it's just like a quick little blip at the beginning of like one episode, but that makes them canon now. So it's
wait,
pretty funny that that was it.
wait, wasn't Scorch in Bad Batch like in one episode or something? I'm trying
I
to
think he
remember.
might have. I think he might have been there like two. I'd have to go
Yeah,
back
but
and rewatch that. But
anyway, no, you're right. They are like blink and you miss it. They are
yeah.
in canon, but their whole story is not, which is really sad. Like I know the whole Karen Travis thing kind of went sideways even before Disney took over, because there was
Mhm.
this she kind of got burned. Like sorry everybody, random lore thing about Republic Commando, because Karen Travis is responsible for basically giving us a ton of the Legends era Mandalorian lore. Like she's the one that gives us their language. She's the one that gives us a lot of their background. The only other thing that did as much was Knights of the Old Republic, where you learn a lot about like ancient, but you're learning like about the Mandalorians from thousands of years ago, not what they currently are. So it's not. It's kind of that's kind of different. But anyway, when they came out with the pacifist Mandalorians ruling Mandalore, they like retconned like a third of Karen Travis's like story, and she was in the middle of writing a book for them, and so she just was like, I she's like, how do I finish this book you want me to write when you just retconned like a third of my world building into non-existence? She's like, I don't know what to do. And so like that's why that series isn't finished, because she
Mhm.
basically went, you know what, Lucasfilm, I'm gonna go write my books again, because like I can't finish my own series because you just retconned it. So, these guys being canon and being in the game is awesome. I love it. I, I know we're probably not gonna get their like their canon stories, because it's like they've already explored that space in Legends format. I don't know that we need more of a story, but I don't know. Maybe a short story would be cool. I don't know, but now I feel like I'm
I have
jumping
thoughts
into
on
your,
this.
I'm jumping into your bonus episode again. Sorry, Todd,
That's fine.
you
It's fine.
gotta prepare me more.
No, I and I knew what was going to happen with that. It's Aubrey. He's gonna squirrel at any given time, so it's fine. I mean, but it's so no, I'm good with it. But yeah, so like I think that kind of like I said closes out like what we have had through all of 2025 as far as characters. Like I said, there was one piece of terrain that was just released, and then there was also the mission that we talked about briefly. And like I said, I think one of the things that you and I were talking about before we even jumped on is I think this is probably going to be we're probably going to see another year like this in 2026, based off of what Mini Strav looked like. There seemed to be a lot more hype going into MCP for this year, going into next year, I should say, and I think that's fine. I mean, I think we're in a good place, and even with what they showed us at mini strav for Shatterpoint. I think it's great. Like there's going to be some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. So I would expect that 2026 is going to look similar as far as release schedule wise to 2025. And hopefully, like as everything is cyclical, hopefully like 2027 turns into the year for Shatterpoint where we really get another big year, kind of like how Legion or MCP did. I know I've heard rumors, like there's been rumors of like already like another core box coming out, like a reboot like they did in MCP. I'm like, or how they did like release reboots for the starter boxes and stuff like that they've had both in MCP and in Legion. And I'm like, I don't know if I can see AMG doing that at some point in time. I don't think like year 3 is like the year that they do that. I think that's more of a year 4, year 5 type of a thing. But I know there's been like some like scuttlebutt about that type of a thing. But I don't know. I think overall, I don't think that's a necessary thing at this point in time for Shatterpoint, especially because the core box still is viable. So I don't think there's a reason to sit there and go down that path.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna see that before we see like they've already hinted in other um, in recent interviews that they're working on another balance update, and I think we would see another balance update before we would see a new core set. And I mean, I'm not saying we couldn't use another core set because there's definitely people who, like, I'm actually surprised, Todd. I don't know why I get surprised, but there are people who are like, I don't watch Clone Wars; it's for children, and I'm like, but you love Star Wars. Like, don't you
Right.
just want more Star Wars? But there's people that are like, I'm not touching that core box because it's the prequels, and I'm still grumpy about it 20 years later.
Yeah, there is a lot of that happens. There is. But no, I mean, so overall, like I said, I think it's been a good year. I mean, do you have any closing thoughts on 2025, Aubrey?
Well, just I mean, what was our favorite things? I like not talking about what's best or whatever. Just what's our favorite. Mine was definitely like the Ahsoka Fulcrum. Like I just thought it was cool. It was nice to see another era of Ahsoka because like we had two different like Clone Wars era Ahsokas, and so it was nice to see the character get showcased again because I really like the philosophy that AMG has about like these are snapshots in time so that you can get like even the Vader is during that duel. It's that Vader who's working with the Inquisitorius to hunt down the Jedi. Like that's I just like that design philosophy, so that's my favorite. What about you?
In all honesty, I would say I'm looking through everything because I like the thing is like the stuff that I've played the most, the model that I've played the most that was released this year, honestly, is Shock T. I've played her and I play her with bounty hunters and mercenaries, so it's like I've enjoyed, like I would say that it's probably my favorite just because of like that. I don't play the Kiadi box. I haven't played, like I don't think I've even put him on the table once. But I've played a bunch of Shock T as a secondary with like Mando or with putting her under Cad Bane with a Cad Bane Mando list. I mean, so she's been pretty cool like with that, with all those mercenaries and stuff like that. So I would say just like that's probably
Good choice.
been my favorites. Like, yeah. But other than that, I think that kind of closes out us for this regular episode. As always, I want to thank each and every one of our listeners. We appreciate you guys coming in and listening to us and spending an hour plus with us every week. It's definitely fantastic. If you want to discuss like what you thought was the best thing of the year and what you liked the most or didn't like the most out of this, you can definitely join our Discord. It is free to join. There is also a Patreon section. If you want to become a patron, that's a great way to support us. You can definitely do that for as little as $1 a month. And the link for that will be in the description somewhere down below, and you can do that, as well as access to the Discord. We'll have the Discord link in the description as well for what if you're listening to us on a podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube. You can definitely look in the Discord or in the description for that. But if you want to support us in another way and don't want to sit there and become a patron, you can definitely do so by rating, reviewing the podcast on whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on. If you are not doing that and watching us on the YouTubes, you can like, subscribe, give us a comment, let us know what you think, tell us what you think is your best, your favorite thing from the year or your worst thing from the year, or what we got right, what we got wrong, and some of our things that we thought. So I definitely appreciate each and every one of you, and as always, Don't be like Cassian and blow up your friends. Just blow up the enemies.
May the force be with you.